Shalom Israel, y'all about to shout thumb to the brothers, y'all small, thumb about to shout to the sisters, brother ISUPK, established in 1969, 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are led by Commanding General Yana. This is the Minnesota Twin City Sabbath service. So everybody stand, keep this off with prayers. Upon Yaakov down, which means turn to face the east. To the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. You can find it in Matthew chapter 6, verses 8 through 13. Abinawu, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakuka, Taba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawat, Hayah, Bashamayim, Natandanawu, Lacham, Ko, Yawam, Wasalaknanawu, Kabawatnawu, Kasalaknawu, Kabawatyanawu, Walaa, Tabiyanawu, Banasawan, Abol, Hawashanawu, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Lakat, Amlakwa, Wa'al, Watapa'ara, La'ulamya, Aman. In English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Amen. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahahanya, Mayan, Yaba'ah, Azari, Azari, Ma'an, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Warataza, Ayatan, Lamawat, Wagalka, Al-Yarawam, Samarka, Hana, La'ah, Yarawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yashal, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazal, Slaki, Tazalka, Aliyah, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashmash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wara, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Atnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaatka, Wabuwaaka, Maita, Wa'ai, Aulam. In English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. We'll say the prayer for the power of God in Hebrew. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Baba Kushak, the thunder now, the Ka, La Rafa'ah, call Machalat, or call Marawat, the Ka, La Tahar, Hamatazarium, the Ka, La Hakwim, Hamathim, the Ka, Al Rafawat, Atma'al, the Garson, Ba'ashem Yahushua, the Wad Amun. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power, the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you, so be it. Pray to bless Israel from the evil. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Barak Nanawa. Wayah Sha'ala. Wahabayat. Sapari. Barak. Rapa'ah. Magan. Hagan. At this time, we can say the name of a loved one once, and we'll repeat that name once. Anybody following on social media, you type in the name of a loved one, we'll send the prayers up with you. Israelite School UPK. All the brothers going through Hebrew Academy. UPK Minnesota, UPK Milwaukee, UPK Rez, UPK Chicago. Benjamin, Jamie, Rakapat, Ali, McIntosh family, Raphael, all of Israel. It's like, what's that sister name? Shai? Slacky, get back. Hey, Shalom Rakapat, Mangabar, all UPK school, all of Israel. Bashem Yahushua, Duadama, in English. Lord, in the name of Yahushua, bless us and Israel in the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Al Damaya Lakat, Al Thacharash, Baal Tashquat, Al Kayafana, Awabika, Yahama Yawan, Ra'ash, Al Amaka, Yair Yamwa, Sawada, Wayata Yaitazawa, Al Tazawapanyaka, Amaru, Lakawa, Wanakak Yadam, Magawi, Wala'a Yazaka, Shamya Sha'al, Iwada, Kaya, Naitazawa, Labad, Yahadwa, Alyaka, Baryak, Yakaratwa, Ahalia, Arawam, Wayashamai Alayam, Mawaba, Wahagari, Gabal, Wa'amwan, Wa'amalak, Palashat, Amyashabi, Tazawal, Gam Ashawal, Nalawat, Imam, Hayawat, Zarawat, Labani Lawat, Salat, Aisha Laham, Kamadian, Kasiyah Sara'at, Kayabi, Bankhal, Kwayashwan, Nashamaru, Bayanda Ara, Hayawat, Daman, Ladam, Shatam, Narayamaw, Gara, Hayawat, Daman, Ladam, Shatam, Narayamaw, Kara, Wakazaab, Wakazabak, Wakatazol Manai, Ko Nasayakam, Ashar, Amaru, Nairashat, Lanawat, At, Nawat, Alahayim, Alahayat, Shaitamu, Kagobala, Kakwash, Lapanya Ralha, Kaash, the Bayri Iowa, Wakalahaba, Talahat, Harya, Kantharadama, Basaraka, Wabasa Wapatka, Tabalahan, Mala'at, Panyaha, Kwalawan, Bayabakwashwa, Shunka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya Bahalwa, Aya Ay, Waya Khaparwa, Waya Abarwa, Waya Daaiwa, Kaya Ata, Shamka, Yahawa, Labarka, Al-Yawan, Al, Call, Haratasa. In English, keep not thou silence, O God, or not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarians, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as the Sisera, as the Jabin, at the brook of Kison, with Paris at Endor, that became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeeb, yea, all the princes at Zabah and at Zelamuna, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill the face with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations, and their drug dealers, court system, prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet and the airwaves, and cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake it that coming. In the name of Yahweh, thank you always. So be it. So, Yahbashim Yashabrakathon, La Yashala. Yashabia, be seated. For the brother and sister that's tuning in with us, shalom to the sister Rockapot, shalom to the brother Karam Yashala. That's lucky, Kawan Yashala, my fault. So as always, we start off in the Tanakh, where we had left off last week in Ezekiel chapter 17. We ended at verse 21. We're going to kick it off at 22. And then we're going to break into chapter 18. And again, it's important to start these, what to do in order, starting with the Hebrew, so that we don't lose the culture of our language. And then recite it in English just so that everybody else understands us. Now, every Friday we have Lashaman Kodash classes, which is the Holy Tongue classes, all across the nation, all across the world, actually. So pretty much at any time on a Friday, if you wanted to make a day of it, again, you could almost spend the entire day going over Lashaman Kodash. And you can interact live with them if you got any questions, comments, concerns. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to backtrack a couple verses just to kind of recap, because last week we were talking about some of the different devices and measures that they were going to inflict that not punishment, but that oppression on us. And these are things that are not easily forgotten. There we go. So like I just want to get everything caught up at 17. So recapping in English so that we can have a better conversation about it. Of course, as we go along, anybody got any questions, comments, or concerns, you can type it into the chat. Otherwise, we'll get this going. So Ezekiel chapter 17, verse 22 in the Hebrew. Kaha Amar Adanya Yahweh. Wala Kokathia Anya Mataz Marak. Rise. Harama Monathathia Marash, Marasha, Salaki. Wanakwawathiya, Wanakwawathiya, Salaki. It could be Wanakwawathiya Wa. Rock, Raka, Akuta, Washath, Washath, Salaki. Washathalathia, Anya, Ah, Hargaba, without a wall, verse 23. Bahar, Marwan, Yashala, Shathalanabwa, Wanasha'a, Wanasha'a, Aina, Ainapa, Waisha, Parya, Wahaya, La Raza, Ariya, Adiyar, Washakanwa, Thaya, Ka, doesn't Pawa, Ka Kana, Bataza all, so like Batazala, it could be Batazal. I have to get clarification on that slide. Dala Yawathya, Dala Walathya, the Shakana, verse 24. Wayadaiwa, Ka Atazia, Hashada, Kaya, Anya, Yahweh, Hashpalathia, Aitaza, Kaba, Slaka, Gaba, Hagabathia, Aitaza, Shapal. Haubashatia. Aitiza. Laka. Waparakathia. Aitiza. Yabasha. Anya. Yahweh. Dabarathia. Waishiatia. It's like Waishiatia. It's the end of verse 24. In chapter 17, the end of verse 24, we're going to get into chapter 18, verse 1. Yahya, the Bar Yahweh, Aliyah, Lamar, verse 2. Laha, Mahalakam, Atham, Mashalayan, At, HaMashah, Hazah, Al, Armat, Yasha'ala, Lamar, Abuwat, Yakalu, Batar. It's like a basar. Bashanya, Abanya, Thapuhayna, verse 3. Khaya, Anya, Naam, Adanya, Yahweh, Yahaya, Lakam, Aywad, Mashal, Hamashal, Hazahat, Bayasha'ala, verse 4. Han, Hana, Call, Hanapashawat, Laya, Hanaha, Hana, Kanapash, Haba, Ukanapash, Haban, Laya, Hana, Hanapash, Hakata'ata, Hakata'ata, Haya, Thamawat. That ends verse 4. That's our 7 for today.
Hey, clap it up for Lashawan Kudash. Again, every Friday, all across the nation, all across America, in the UK, in Central and South America, and I got school in Alaska, I believe. But I mean, brothers are holding classes all the time in different areas, different regions, different time zones. So again, you can catch different classes at different times to get caught up in and to solidify yourself in it. Appreciate the support, sis. Appreciate the support, definitely. That's Shemawa. Shalom, sis, for joining in. All right, so we're going to get into the English. So from here, we're going to start up a couple verses just to kind of recap a little bit from last week. So we're going to be starting at 22, 17, ended at 21. So let's start off at, so I think we did 15 through 21. So again, a quick recap. So there was a deal made between the king of Babylon. Yeah, the king of Babylon over here. Just want to make sure that we find in the right spot. It's like it's maybe in Egypt, but where that king had made oaths, yeah, with the pharaoh of Egypt. So with them pharaohs making, so during one of our captivities, when that king, when that ruler, that oppressor was trying to make deals with our leaders, our kings and our princes, to try to make the captivity go a little bit smoother, and they try to make deals and peace treaties with the Egyptians to help strengthen their position. So now, because we was already breaking the Lord wasn't with us. That doesn't mean that he was with our oppressors. He just wasn't with us. So our cover and our protection wasn't there anymore. So they were able to take advantage of us. They were able to flex their control and their power and their dominance in that region over us. So I mean, we tried to squiggle and squirm because we made an oath with the Most High first, our people, and we broke that oath. So now to try to, uh, how would I say, for lack of a better term, the lesser of two evils, under one oppressor trying to make an oath and a promise with another oppressor. And we see the unfolding of how those deals just went bad because that ruler had found out about that deal that we were making with the Egyptians and then pressed us. And it talks about the rebellion, verse 15. But he rebelled against them in sending his ambassadors to Egypt, that they might give him horses and much people. Shall he prosper? Shall he escape that doeth such things? Or shall he break the covenant and be delivered? So again, we're talking about the conditions that we were living under in a sense, the peace treaties that we were trying to make with our oppressors at that time. Similar to what you've seen in America throughout the history with the North Native American Indians and the Seminole Indians, which have still never made a peace treaty with our oppressor and their government and their body. And they technically, I guess, still fight until this day. But because they are so much more in control, this is something that can be overlooked by. And living comfortably enough with the crumbs that have been fed to us, not much to fight against. Or I should say, not much zeal to fight against it, not much ambition or motivation to fight against it. Verse 21, and all his fugitives with all his bands shall fall by the sword, and they that remain shall be scattered towards all winds. And ye shall know that I, the Lord, have spoken. So again, he's going to give his judgment no matter what. And no matter what these other people try to do, these other nations, these other governments try to do, they're gonna have to deal with the Most High. And whether he shows his power, just like how he had raised up Pharaoh, just to bring them down, gave them all this might, gave them all this rulership, all this wealth, all this dominance over all this landmass, just to crush them and bring them down because of what he did to the children of Israel. He's going to do the same thing to America, to our current oppressors. In that meantime, we need to keep the covenants like we need to keep that covenant that our forefathers had made with the Most High. We need to make this right on our end. Just because we know the end is coming, we got Russia invading Ukraine, pissing everybody off, getting everybody on edge. I mean, I guess except for us, it's like we've been prophesying these times, since the late '60s, early '70s. We've been prophesying about this. So for us, this is nothing to get that worked up about, but this is the state of things, and it's getting everybody into a tizzy. They don't know where to go, what to do, who to pledge their allegiance to, and America, because they want to be the dominant power. Of course, they're going to fight anybody that's trying to step up in stature. Now, Russia is already a major figure. So just picture, us right now. If we were to sell out, so like we in oppression in America, and we were to try to holler at the Russians like, hey, listen, we're not with them. We don't want to be under them. We'd rather serve you. We'd rather serve the Soviet. Well, I don't know if they call it the Soviet Union necessarily anymore. But we'd rather serve Russia than America. Do this, and this for us. Send us some troops and send us, send us some guns, send us, some food and some rations, and we'll fight from the inside for you. How do you think America is going to react to that? Like everybody thinks picking up a gun is how you rebel against our oppressor. When that never worked for us, because we're putting our trust into carnal measures of warfare. When this warfare is not carnal, actually, I'm gonna pull that up too. We're gonna get that as a preset. But again, we see what's going on out here, and so I mean, like even the Black Panthers tried pulling something like that with the KKK. Having little secret meetings and peace talks with them. I believe even Malcolm X did something similar, just to kind of keep how would I say? I guess to keep the peace, so he ain't got to fight this war on top of fighting, the civil rights war with the government. Trying to get laws passed to protect his people while having to fight, Klansmen in the streets and in the back alleys, in the countries and on his front steps. It wasn't just them that was the physical threat, but the government itself was the physical threat. The FBI, the CIA, they were the ones, moving a lot of pieces and shooting a lot of bullets. Sorry, I just want to pull this one up and we'll get back into it. So again, we're going to be starting off from verse 22. That's what I was looking for. So 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. We're going to pull that in a second. Well, actually, might as well pull that now, get out the way. And so 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 4 through 5. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. So again, everybody wants to pick up, a gun, a knife, a bomb, a rock, a 2x4. That brother, and this is such an unfortunate situation that occurred in Milwaukee. Salaki to that family, Lord be with you and your family. But that brother who ended up dying in police custody, his brother who went in and shot up the 5th district in Milwaukee. And if you know anything about like Milwaukee and the 5th district, like that's a pretty hood neighborhood right there. And just one brother walked in there and started firing off. I understand his pain. I ain't never lost nobody, especially in them circumstances, but I understand his pain. But that's not how we're going to get this done. All that did is it's going to put a tighter noose. It's going to put a tighter chain around us. That boot's going to come down more and more. Like, do you think right now, for instant gratification for that brother, he might think that he got some justification out of shooting whoever. Hey, shalom Adawan Makabi, shalom Yabashim Shabrakata, shalom to the sister Kawa, Yah Shema Bashim Yabashah, shout out to the brother Kanaga Bar, Yabashim Yabashabrakata. Yeah, for everybody tuning in. Yeah, that brother in Milwaukee, like, shooting up the police station ain't gonna do it. That's not gonna solve the problem. You may feel carnally that you got some justification out of it because you took down somebody of theirs because they killed somebody of yours. They have the ordnance, the weaponry, the firepower, the manpower, the citywide authority to shut everything down. We can riot like we've done in the past and before, but that's never gotten us free. You're talking about small little pockets. Even if all these pockets kicked up at once, they don't even have to spare the manpower necessarily. All they got to do is same thing they did in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. Fly overhead, drop some bombs, and that's the end of the mission. That's the end of that whole movement that everybody got all riled up about. I understand your frustration and your anger and the pain that you might be going through. I can only imagine, I should say, because I ain't had to go through that personally myself. But you need to understand that that's not how this job is going to get done. That's just going to give them more motivation for another George Floyd, for another Emmett Till, for another Eric Garner, Tamir Rice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Trayvon Martin. It's not going to stop just because one person's pain took them to that level. And I ain't trying to bash that brother. Just that's you did something that was biblically, you did something that was wrong. Just flat out. Now, in American law, of course, you did something that was wrong in their eyes too. But how much more is that hammer gonna come down on us because of those acts? Like we got, and I know this. I know it sucks to hear this, and I know this ain't what you want to hear. We gotta hold on. We gotta endure until the end, because they're not gonna stop. Even in times of peace, they acted worse when we weren't doing anything in retaliation. They were still doing horrible things to us. Now that this kicked off, and again in an angry city like Milwaukee, man, and especially where that police station is in that neighborhood, like that's an angry side of town too. They need a whole city in where any police station is. You're in the hood, you're in the ghetto right there, pretty much. That's an angry city. Now you just pissed off the cops, and I ain't telling you to be afraid of them, but this is not how we can act in these times to get the results that we need for our people. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Casting down imaginations, believing in the voting system, Republican Party, Democratic Party, or believing in Black Panthers, new Black Panther movement. Captain Tazariak is going to be battling, and it's like I can't remember the brother name, but the current leader of the new Black Panther Party. And I believe the topic is more or less, and I'm just paraphrasing it, but it's gonna be more or less on, what was better for Black people, Pan-Africanism or following the Israelite culture, our actual culture. Now they believe that Pan-Africanism is our culture. They can't prove that. A lot of people have tried, but they just try to tie us into Africa, into Hamitic cultures and stop. When we have proven time and time again since '69 that we are Israelites, we are a completely separate people from them. Black people ain't Africans. So-called Hispanics, like I should say, so-called Black people ain't Africans. So-called Hispanics are not Spaniards. So-called North Native American Indians are not Asians. we've been prophesying these differences for the longest and explaining and defining that line that's drawn in the sand. Nobody seems to want to listen. And again, Captain Tazariak is gonna once again put forth his boot into the spirit of another Pan-African, and it's gonna have the same result. So again, we got to cast down these imaginations to keep going, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. Everybody thinks that they got some knowledge, they got some understanding, and they know what's going on. Until we need an answer for civil rights violations, terrorist abuse, acts of war against our people on domestic soil. Until it comes down to that, like again, everybody just wants to pick up a gun. They think that violence, because it's been met with violence, or because it's been preceded with violence, that needs to be met with violence. They've got more firepower than us. Making a deal with Russia wouldn't help us. You had a lot of people that was trying to, when we had the threats of like Iran and Iraq bombing us, people sending out, memes and TikTok videos about, hey, we're not with them. Don't bomb the ghetto. First off, they ain't messing with us like that anyway. They don't care about us. We're not their enemy. They know that. If you claim that American culture, though, you're trying to be a patron of America, I mean, you're going to get met with that. Revelations, what is chapter 8? Come out of her, my people. You're not partakers of her sins. It's just like it might be 4 and 18. Their wars really, they ain't got nothing to do with us. This is just white on white violence. It's like, all right, I can't find it off top real quick, but yeah, come out of my people and be not partakers of her sins. Find that in Revelations. But to continue with 2 Corinthians, and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ, of Yahushua. That's a tough thing for people to understand, because again, I mean, they don't follow no man. You're following Khalid Muhammad, though. You're following Farrakhan. You're following Moses. You're following Donald Trump, or you're following Joe Biden. But this brother's beneath you. You can't follow a black man named Jesus Christ. Even though, I mean, the acts of faith that he committed for the benefits of our people kept this culture alive and kept that seal alive. We need to get rid of all these side thoughts and side hustles, really, about, again, Pan-Africanism, atheism, everybody love everybody-ism. That's never worked out for us. So just to touch base on that, some of the current events which lead us into, again, the prophecies or the visions that Ezekiel was experiencing, it ties like right into it. So we're going to start back off in English at 22, chapter 17, verse 22. Thus saith the Lord God, I will also take of the highest branch of the high cedar and will set it. I will crop it off. I will crop off from the top of his young twigs and tender one. It's like I will crop off the top of his young twigs and tender one, and will plant it upon an high mountain and eminent. So I will also take of the highest branch of the highest cedar. So those prominent positions, those figureheads, those community leaders. And he will set it. He's going to put it in its place. I will crop them off from the top of his young twigs, a tender one. One of those impressionable youths that can be manipulated, that can be bought. And will plant it upon an high mount and eminent. He's going to give him some glory and some fame. You're going to tell him, all right, you're the alderman, you're the new chief of police, or you're the new city councilman. You're 19 years old, and now you got all this power. We gave this to you, and it's gonna seem great. It's gonna seem great. Verse 23: In the mountain of the height of Israel, what I planted, and it shall bring forth boughs and bear fruit, and be a godly cedar, and under it shall dwell all fowl of every wing, in the shadow of the branches, therefore shall they dwell. In the mountain of all the I just want to reread that. In the mountain of the height of Israel, what I planted. So these are going to be set over the nation, and it's going to produce boughs, and it's going to be fruitful, and it's going to appear grand, and be a godly seed. It's going to appear grand and how would I say, glorious in the sight of the people. And under it shall dwell all fowl of every wing. In the shadow of the branches thereof shall they dwell. Did I read that wrong? Salaki. Let me step back for a second. Verse 22, thus saith the Lord God, I will also take of the highest branch of the cedar tree, and will set it, and will crop them off from the top of his young twigs, a tender one, and will plant it upon the high mountain and eminent. All right, so yeah, Salaki. So this is going to be kind of the changing of the guard. The people who were at the top is going to get cut down. And it's going to have a fresh start with that new leaf kind of turning over. And they will be set in those high positions. So yeah, you'll still have like them younger men in positions of leadership in the mountain of the height of Israel, what I planted. So you're gonna see, bro, like kind of how like King David got set up. Nobody counted him in at first. It's like I read this wrong at first. Nobody counted him in because he looked like, that pretty boy, that young pretty boy, that ruddy youth. He turned out to be the killer. He turned out to be that leader, that future king. So yeah, he's gonna kind of reset. He's gonna reset the hierarchy. Those people that were in control, the community leaders, they're gonna lose their position, and it's gonna be this new breed of men coming in to reestablish that power. In the mountain of the height of Israel will I plant it, and it shall bring forth boughs and bear fruit, and be a godly seed. And under it shall dwell all fowl of every wing, in the shadow of the branches, therefore shall they dwell. So the different governmental bodies that in positions of authority and office that we will be in charge of. Everything else is going to run underneath us. This is a future prophecy going on. And all the trees of the field shall know that I, the Lord, have brought down the high tree, and have exalted the low tree. What's you got the one scripture? Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? They're not going to expect, that this tree that's been empowered, that's been higher and more dominant, casting a shadow over all the other trees. And again, these are metaphors for nations. They're not going to believe that this low tree is now going to be the high tree, because that high tree got cut down and it's getting replaced again, that changing of the guard. And they're going to see the Lord's power. Just again, I was talking about earlier, how the Lord had exalted Pharaoh, he exalted America, just to cut them down at the height of their prominence, at the height of their kingdom. And all the trees of the field shall know that I, the Lord, have brought down the high tree. It's not going to They're not gonna attribute it to Russia or acts of war done on earth. They're gonna see how the Lord had exalted them and then dropped them down, and it's not gonna have anything to do unless they are going to be used as like that nail and hammer. It's not going to have anything to do with them other nations. They're not going to be exalted with the falling of this oppressor. They're not going to be exalted. This is just how you say it, a tool being used, just to end it all, flatten everything back out, restart the system. Have exalted the low tree, have dried up the green tree, and have made the dry tree to flourish. So that dry tree, similar to earlier, no, I think it's later on in Ezekiel when it's talking about the dry bones. Kind of similar to that, people that have been broken and so like people that have been broken and disqualified. Again, nobody's gonna believe that. Hey, like this nation, all these so-called niggas and spicks and savages, they're gonna be the ones in power. They're gonna be the ones ruling us. They're not gonna believe that because of the history that we had in this country, the reputation that's been stained on us. Like this ain't our reputation. Like that, this is not how our people are. But the reputation that's been given us, that's been stamped on us, that's what people are gonna remember from the news, from social media, and from the low level that we got brought to because of our oppressors' efforts. And of course, if they win the war, if they're in such a prominent high state, the Most High, God must be with them. That's not the case. They're getting fattened up. They were allowed to grow in order to get chopped down in front of everybody, so that everybody will know that the Lord had done this, that brought down that big tree and have made the dry tree to flourish. I, the Lord, have spoken and have done it. So now this is also expressing the end of Esau and the beginning of Jacob's world. And when the wicked rule, the world mourned. When the righteous rule, the world rejoiced. We're going to see that happen too as people fight for power and resources and stab each other in the back. Families fighting against families, neighbors fighting against neighbors. Golly, when the COVID thing hit, I mean, toilet paper and water was flying off the shelves. People fighting over that in the grocery stores just to make sure that they got that last little one. While the rest of us in this truth, we ain't gonna be worried about the things that they worried about. And shout out to the sister Rakawana. Rakana. It's like if I'm mispronouncing names, sis. But so long for joining us. But yeah, we're gonna see the toppling of this kingdom. We're gonna see their downfall, and we're gonna see the resurrection of Israel. Not what was established in 1948 when Israel, well, when the world had cut Palestine in half and then gave Israel their portion, which included Jerusalem. We ain't talking about that. Israel is being rebuilt right now, right here in America, right there in Trinidad and Tobago, right there in the Dominican Republic, in Haiti, in Puerto Rico, in Mexico, in Brazil, in Chile, in Canada, in Alaska, in the UK. That's where this nation is being rebuilt. Not with those imposters with the curly cues and small hats. They ain't got nothing to do with us. So let's get into chapter 18, verse 1. And the Lord of your God is like, and the word of your Lord came unto me again, saying, what mean ye that ye use this proverb concerning the land of Israel, saying, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. So now, all right, so you're gonna have the sins of the father. It's not that it's being passed down to the children, but we're like they're gonna be suffering because of the acts of the fathers. That's what the sour have eaten sour grapes. Um, some have taken on some that ain't good for you. Like again, the civil rights movement. Uh, everybody. I think we still in February, right? Yeah, we still in February, so I mean, still Black History Month. Um, everybody trying to take up that civil rights movement. Look at how that destroyed the children afterwards. And that's one example of it. Verse 3. As I live, saith the Lord God, ye shall not have occasion any more to use this proverb in Israel. There's gonna come a time where we're gonna be right. We're gonna get this thing together. Our nation is gonna be solid. Our laws will be defined. Our families will be protected. And we're not gonna have to suffer that same thing where the past generations actions and wrongdoings are gonna sorely afflict the next generation. Because right now we're seeing how our generation, like me and the brothers that are alive right now, how we are introducing our children into the kingdom, into Israelite culture, into a whole new world, something that they never would have thought existed. Because I mean, Christmas is so prominent, and Valentine's Day is such an attractive event for people. I got into an argument with my 6-year-old daughter about this. Not even an argument, but like she wasn't trying to hear it because it made her feel comfortable because everybody else is doing it. So yeah, of course, why not? But we're not going to lead our children down that path. We're going to let them know like there's a difference. Like this is what we got to do. Everybody else is doing that. I know it seems flashy, seems good, but envy not thou the oppressor. Verse 4. Behold, all souls are mine. As the soul of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. Y'all can keep celebrating, pagan holidays and doing drugs, selling drugs, committing adultery, committing abortions, and think that it's just happening to you. Like, yeah, it's gonna stick with you. Now, how many families get affected every year by the actions of our people? Like all this is about to get removed. And those punishments that came with the law that we had seen established with Moses and the Levites, they can be carried out once again. And the Most High is going to exact that judgment because we breaking his laws. We breaking that covenant. And again, we keep on trying to make peace treaties and covenants and deals with other people, other nations, thinking that's going to get us somewhere, that they're actually going to back us up when they don't care about us either. And we're going to see those results. But the Lord is telling us, like, listen, you ain't going to be able to use that proverb no more, man. Like, we're not going to be able to blame the conditions that we are in on the mistakes of our forefathers. We're not going to be able to say, hey, my daddy was a drug dealer, was a drug addict, and I just kind of followed suit because that was my dad, and that's what I learned, that's what I gathered out of the world. So now, why is it any surprise that I'm a drug addict or a drug dealer? You ain't gonna be able to use that in your defense. We've had crack babies born physically addicted to crack cocaine out the womb. Same thing with heroin babies. And children who have had a predisposition to like alcohol because generationally on maybe their mother and their father's side, there was heavy alcoholism. So things like that follow into the genetics into their child. We're not going to be able to have those same excuses after all this. Our children that are being born into the truth, God forbid that they were to transgress the law, they are going to get punished. It's damn near going to be on sight. You're not going to be able to use the past as a scapegoat or the faults of your forefathers as an excuse. You're going to be held accountable for your actions because you're getting born into the truth. Again, we're seeing this. We got captains, we got generals and captains and officers that are in positions of power and influence over the people. And the more that these high, big standing prominent trees keep on cutting each other down by the will of the Most High, our tree keeps on growing. They keep on getting chopped down, chopped down, chopped down. Ours keeps on growing. And it's gonna show the Lord's strength in us, his chosen people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, 12 tribes of Israel. Our day is coming. Ezekiel is seeing all this starting to unfold, and we are living in it right now. So get in contact with the school near you. isupk.com. The Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. Find a school near you. See what you need to do to get your life right, to get your family life right. Now, again, it's going to come down to each individual. You can't save your child. Your child has to make that conscious effort and decision themselves. You can't save your spouse. If you're a sister, you can't save your husband. If you're a brother, you can't save your wife. They got to make that commitment themselves. To keep this tree growing, as their tree keeps on getting cut down. And our brothers get put in positions of power to be able to actually have an effect on our community. Again, that mission to Akun. I mean, devastating benefits from that. Nobody else was gonna lift a finger for them brothers, except for us. And the land that they had stepped into under that bridge in Mexico, those brothers down there, those Issacharite brothers, didn't have the right knowledge or guidance on how to treat those Levite brothers, those Haitian brothers. They didn't have the proper guidance. They didn't know what to do with them, how to handle that situation. You got Haitians speaking I can't remember the language or the term for the language that they speak, but they weren't speaking Spanish. And the Spanish speaking brothers were not speaking what the Haitians do. I can't remember if that's like Creole or Patois. I don't know if that's Jamaican. Salaki, if I'm getting them mixed up. But there was only one organization on earth that could have facilitated the needs of those people and to communicate to them properly. And that's these boughs, growing out of this tree. That's the fruit coming forth from this tree. Because you had a brother from New York, Salakia, out of one Yatazar, out of New York, who spoke that language, that Creole language. It's like, I don't know if that's the right term for it. But over the phone, he was able to get everybody in line. And the brothers who had boots on the ground in the corner, getting everybody situated, passing out the food, passing out the diapers, passing out the toiletries and the hygiene and the water and the this, that, and the third, the first aid kits, passing out the necessities that those families needed while living under a bridge in a foreign country to them in dangerous enemy territory. Run smooth. That don't happen anywhere else. The Lord is with the UPK under Commanding General Yahan. Get in contact with the school near you so that you can be a part of this. You can see what you need to do, see what you can do to help facilitate the needs of your people. And if there's something that you need also, again, have that conversation with the school leader and see what they can get done accommodations for you. Because you're not in this alone. And you don't want to be alone when it actually goes down. We're seeing them first cuts. This thing between Russia and Ukraine and how that's inspiring, all this Edomite patriotism amongst these different nations and then dissemination. Because, One Edomite don't want to see the other Edomite in control and power. If that would threaten his kingdom, Russia would threaten the American kingdom if they were to be that global power. So I mean, don't get stuck behind, the lines. Don't. And again, like we were learning from the brothers, don't try to cut deals with another potential oppressor just because you don't like the current state of the oppression that we in now, and you think maybe under them, because we gonna work with them to try to overthrow this kingdom, that they're gonna have show us favor. They're not. They don't care about you any more than America cares about you. You're not gonna be able to choose one, the lesser evil in this case. What you need to do is choose the Most High. Let them bang out their own problems. That's their issues. Ain't got nothing to do with us. You got to keep your nose to the grindstone. ISUPK.com. Pay your tithes. Get in contact with the school near you. Get ready for the Passover, man. April 15th, Cocoa Beach, Florida. I think we had two entire hotels. Whatever availability they had left, or that they even started with, I think we had already bought them out. That's two hotels that I believe, well, the one hotel, the Passover is being held pretty much right there. That one sold up. You got another hotel. I believe that one's all booked up too. So like myself, we're driving down to Milwaukee to meet up with the brothers in Wisconsin, to meet up with the brothers in Chicago, to drive down because we got an Airbnb set up. So even if you got to do something like that, I mean, just get everything in motion. Like we are in the last minutes. This month is gonna fly by, and you don't wanna let it come down to the last 2 weeks. So get ready for the Passover. Get your money right. Get your hotel, your sleeping arrangements, lodging arrangements right. Your travel arrangements to and from. We want to make sure that you make it there and back safe. So with that, we're gonna close out today's Sabbath service. To the brothers and sisters that tune in with us, and we'll get back with you next week. Again, tune in to the classes every Tuesday. We have the Brotherhood class here in Minnesota. So I'm just trying to find a save page. Every Wednesday, we have the scripture breakdown class with Adawan Kodash Zion. Every Friday, we got the Lasuan Kodash classes with Adawan Maccabia. And again, you can find classes on any day of the week. You can find classes from different time zones. So I mean, if you got spare time, even if you hit the scheduled class, there might be one a couple hours before them you can catch, a couple hours after that you can catch. You can literally fill up your day with this. So something to think about, something to look forward to, something to plan ahead. And with that, we're gonna get ready to close it out with these prayers again. So imagine we stand. Upon Yaakov thumbs, turn to face the east. Again, we're going to start off with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and find in Matthew chapter 6, verse 8 through 13. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayat, Shamkat, Yahweh, Malakukat, Taba'at, Ratazakat, Hayat, Aisha, Baratazah, Kawat, Hayat, Bashamayim, Natandanawa, Lakam, Ko, Yawam, Wasalaknanawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'at, Tabiyanawa, Bansawan, Abo, Aushanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kayat, Lakat,
Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Wata Parat, La'ulamnu, Amun. In English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Amen. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'at, Ayanya, Ahahari, Mayan, Yaba'at, Azari, Azari, Mayan, Yahweh, Aisha, Shammai, Baratazah, Al-Yatan, Lamawat, Magalka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Hanat, La'at, Yanawam, Wala'at, Yayashan, Shawamah, Yashal, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Ashamash, La'at, Yakakat, Barak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makor Rai, Yashamar, Adnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaatka, Waba Wa'aka, Maita, Wa'ai, Awalam. In English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Prayer for the power, the Hakak in Hebrew. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Baba Kashak, the thunder now, Hakak, Hakak, Lava Pa'at, call Makalat, or call Marawat, Hakak, Latahar, Hamatazarium, Hakak, Lahakwim, Hamatium, Hakak, Al-Rakawat, Hatma'al, Lagarshan, Bashim Yahushai, Duad Aman. In English, Yahweh, the name Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, cast them out. The name Yahushai, thank you, so be it. Pray to bless Israel and the Hebrew. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Barak Lanaw, Wayashal, Wahabayat, Sapari, Barak, Rapa'at, Magan, Hagan. At this time, again, you can say the name of the loved one once. Everyone repeats that name once. If you're still with us on social media, type in the name of a loved one. Everyone sends the prayers up with you. Israelite School UBK. All the brothers going through the Hebrew Academy. You became Minnesota. You became Milwaukee. You became Chicago. You became Reyes. Rocky Pot. Annalee. All of Israel. Now keep on check online. among them all UPK schools, all of Israel. Desiree Davis became Minnesota, all of UPK. Bashim Yahushai, Tawadaman. In English, Lord, in the name of Yahushai, bless us and Israel, and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. Psalms 83 in the evening. Alahayim, Al Damya Lakai, Al Thakarats, Al Thashapua, Al Kayahna, Awabika, Yahami Yawan, Ra'ash, Al Amaka, Yahwiyam, Sawad, Wayata Yatazwa, Al Tazawapanyuka, Amarwa, Akawa, Wanakakidam, Magalia, Wala'at Yazakal, Shamya Shal, Awada, Kayat, Naitazwa, Labat, Yakhadwa, Aryaka, Bayat, Yakaratwa, Ahalia, Arawam, Waya Shamai Alayam, Mawa'aba, Wahagarium, Gabal, Wa'amwan, Wa'amalat, Alashat, Am Yashabia, Tazawar, Gamashawa, Nalawat, Aimam, Ayawa, Zawat, Labanya Lawat, Salat, Aisha Laham, Kamadin, Kasaya Sara'at, Kayabin, Banakal, Koyashwan, Nashamadu, Ayanda Ara, Ayawa, Daman, Ladama, Shatamu, Narayamaw, Kairab, Wakazaba, Wakazabat, Wakatazal Manai, Kona Sayakamu, Ashar, Amaru, Nairashat, Lanawat, At, Nawat, Alaim, Alahayat, Shatamu, Kagalgala, Kakwach, Lapanyo Raukat, Tardama, Selected Kaash, Tabayri Iowa, Wakalahaba, Talahat, Haryam, Kantar Datma, Basarika, Wabasa Wapatka, Tabalaham, Malaat, Panyam, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamkat, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya, Bahawa, Adi, Waya Khaparwa, Waya Abarwa, Waya Daiwa, Kaya Ata, Shamkat, Yahawa, Labarka, Al-Yawan, Al, Call, Al-Ratazak. In English, keep not thou silence, O God, or not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and have consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and Hagarians, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyrians also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. Doing to them as unto the Midianites, as the Sisera, as the Jabin, at the brook of Kison. which perish at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeeb, yea, all the princes at Sabbath, and at Zelamun, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Oh my God, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with that tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill the faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school, and force their riches to enter thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations, and their drug dealers, court system, prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, bicycle Matazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet and the airwaves, cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael and Gabriel come down with flying saucers and punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you always. So be it. So off to the front. That concludes our Sabbath service. Yahweh Shem Yahshua thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shem Thumb by Shem Yahshua to the sisters. Dismissed.